Good morning. Welcome to First United Methodist Church of Dallas. My name is Reverend Anna Bundy Hagler, and I am the Associate Minister of Communications and Community. I can't believe I did that in one breath.
I trip up on your name so often that I'm even surprised that you got the name correct.
Wow.
Even though
I
it's
hope
your
that I
own
get my
name.
name correct.
Well, it's relatively new. You didn't have all three for a while.
That's true. Only 3 years in.
Yeah, exactly.
Anna Bundy Hagler.
It's just a lot.
But my friends, like, growing up called me Anna Bundy. Like, it was
Anna
one
Bundy.
word. Yeah.
Anna Bundy.
Anna Bundy.
Ain't it good to be the coach?
What?
It's from Friday Night Lights.
Oh. Well.
Just Anna, it was kind of the same
You
starting.
lost me. Also, we got straight into this, and I didn't do any of what I was supposed to do.
Well, because I thoroughly distracted. Because now I'm the guest. So usually I'm the host. And so I'm focused on being on task, doing what's supposed to be done. Now I'm the guest. It can be anything, really.
Yeah, well, it can. Anyway, we're so grateful that you are worshiping with us online. If you're watching us live, you're probably on our website, on Facebook, or on YouTube. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, comment at us, comment towards us. We've both got it up on our phones right now.
Yep.
We would love to talk to you. We clearly talk to each other.
I don't
enough.
approve of this. I did not give my consent.
That's fair. All right. Well, the name thing really just threw me for a loop.
I'm Reverend Roy Atwood, by the way.
And what is your title?
The Associate Minister of Online Community.
Yes.
Is it more? Do I have an and?
No, I don't think you have
I don't
an
think
and.
I have
I
an
think it's
and.
just online.
According to you live from FirstChurch, I don't have an and.
I know that you missed us. I missed us. And what I forgot to say was that some of you are going to be watching this after worship, and we're still very grateful that you are watching.
That works
this
too.
Really
it can be a pre-show or a post-show.
I was going to steal that line.
Oh my gosh, I beat you to it.
I kind of went into a Sunday school class where he was teaching today, and I heard that, and I said, I'm going to stick that one right here.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm glad that we're back.
Me too.
I'm glad that we're back. I do have a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
Since I don't really need to introduce you anymore. We're just really catching up. We're two friends catching up on life. And that is, what are you reading right now?
Well, I think the big question today is C.D. Lamb. He didn't, he was holding out. He was out for the preseason, didn't play in any of the games. What kind of shape is he in? We don't know. Is he going to be ready for the game or not, right?
Are you talking about a book?
The other question we're seeing is the running back game. They brought in Ezekiel Elliott back. Is he any good? He really struggled in New England. They brought in Dalvin Cook from somewhere, Minnesota or something. But a lot of people think Rico Dowdle is the best back of the three, but he's third on the depth chart. Is he going to reclaim that role at some point in the season as early as today? We don't know. We know Dak is doing great. He's got to perform because he doesn't have that extension. He's really going to have his... Oh, he does. He does. We heard just in, Dak got the extension. So we're good there. We're up to date on the news. And the defense. The defensive coordinator is different. It's a different person this year because the other guy left to another team. So we've got a lot of questions that we're really going to see the first answers for today. Back to you, Joe.
So I didn't know we were talking about football until you said the word Dak. It took me...
That took you that long to get to football?
That long. Because I'm not from Texas, and
Doesn't
I'm
matter.
not a Cowboys fan.
You should know
and
all
so
of those things.
My husband would agree.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, well, what's bringing you joy if you're reading the news about football?
The book that I'm reading right now is Bright Young Women, and it's about a serial killer. And it's really dark, and I'm really disturbed by it.
I learned recently that my grandma also exclusively reads, like, murder mysteries, and that disturbs me.
Typical murder mystery is fine by me. This one was really kind of brutal.
Okay, so that's not bringing you joy, but it is what you're reading.
It is not bringing me joy, but it is what I'm
okay,
reading.
What is bringing you joy?
Bringing me joy is spending time with you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm winning my fantasy baseball league.
That brings a lot of joy.
I don't think I've won since the initial year 13 years ago. I don't think I've won since then.
You've been playing fantasy for over a decade.
Yes,
Wow.
and it's a keeper league, so we keep the same players. So there are some players who have been on someone's team for the last 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you'll pick up young players before they've even started. So there are players, 17, 18-year-olds who are on people's rosters because they're like, in 3 years, they might be good at baseball.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a whole thing.
That is a whole thing.
So
I
that's a
did
little
learn
bit about
recently
me.
that there's a lot of baseball games in the...
Yes, you did learn
in the
recently
schedule.
that they have a baseball game every day.
Yeah, that's wild. What's bringing me joy right now, thank you so much for asking,
You're welcome.
is that I started junk journaling. Have you heard of this?
Have not.
Okay, so apparently you're supposed to, like, collect junk, like, from your day, like receipts, like packaging you love, like tags on things, anything you think is beautiful, and you, like, journal it. And so
You journal about receipts?
You journal about, like, well, I'm doing it on the memories. So, like, my husband and I celebrated our anniversary this week, and I, like, took the to-go bag and, like, cut it up because it had the branding on it, and I, like, printed out pictures from our dinner, and you make, like, a junk journal.
So you're journaling about things that aren't junk on junk.
Yes.
Whew, I thought you were just writing about the receipts.
No, that would be kind of boring. I don't know that would bring me joy.
No, I don't.
But
think
you
it would
know what
either.
else doesn't necessarily bring me joy?
What?
The word evangelism.
It's a scary word.
And we're starting a series on
Yeah.
evangelism today called The E Word.
Because you don't even want to say it. Really.
No, I've never wanted to say it. But I think we should change that narrative. I really think we should, like, name it and claim it and own it and, like, redirect.
Well, as Methodists, that's kind of what we do.
Ooh,
Because originally Methodist was an insult. Because, like, all you do is stick to the method.
Right.
And they reclaimed it. Like, yeah, we are methodical.
That is us.
The queer community has done that with the word queer.
I guess that's true.
Because queer was an insult for a long time. And it's like, you know what? We are a little different because y'all are boring.
Yeah.
So we're going to claim the word queer. And that way it's a more inclusive word.
Yeah, I love it. I love reclaiming things. But will you say a little bit more about, like, why Methodists should love evangelism? Like, it's kind of in our DNA.
Well, it is in our DNA. John Wesley, from the very beginning, was all about taking the word to the people where they were.
Yes.
So preaching out in the fields and not just waiting for people to come to church.
Right.
And that's kind of what we do with online stuff. We're mostly modern day Wesley. That's really
That's
the
us.
takeaway.
We are. Our whole
Is we're trying to
lives.
go out and find people who might not walk through the doors, but might find us on the virtual street corner, if you will.
If you will.
Yeah. Did you see that little turn of phrase there?
You're a wordsmith through and through.
It's my job, mostly.
Well, so, like, what has your journey with evangelism been like?
Well, so when I was younger, I think I was more evangelical.
Yes. Yes.
Which is, it's kind of in the water in Southern Baptist kind of realm that we live in.
Yes.
And so I would talk to people about, you have this problem, you should pray, or, you should read the Bible.
Right.
And I think I kind of turned on that in that if someone's not particularly religious, telling them to pray is probably not very helpful
Not
for them.
as helpful as maybe we might think for those of us that pray regularly. Like,
Right.
it's not that easy.
Or it's like, what am I going to get out of it?
Right.
And then you get into all sorts of tricky theological things about, well, how is God going to solve the problem? And yada, yada, yada. I think I've come back around a little bit in the sense that I think Christianity is valuable. This might surprise you.
A pastor.
As someone who...
Somebody write it down.
Yeah. The world, in my opinion, needs kindness, love, and joy.
Yes.
Because our natural instinct, I think, is to be selfish.
Yeah.
Our natural instinct is to prioritize our own well-being and our own emotional state, and also groupish as well.
Ooh, okay.
Which I don't know if it's a word.
Yeah.
But I've invented it. So you naturally prioritize people who look like you, who think like you, who act like you, who are in your circle.
Yeah.
And it's just really evolutionary to have that sort of clickiness and clannishness. Yeah. And I think the world's a better place when we break down those barriers, when we're inclusive of all people, and where we're spreading kindness and joy. Yeah. And so I want to tell other people about that and help other
Yeah.
people do that. And if you want to call that evangelism, then sure, call it evangelism.
I think you should call it evangelism.
Because
Like,
we're going to reclaim the word.
right. Well, and for those of you watching, I do see that some of you are watching. Tell me your thoughts on evangelism, if it's scary, if you're very comfortable with it. I've had a similar kind of trip myself where I went to like a really evangelical campus ministry, and they like taught me how to do drawing like diagrams to lead people to Christ, and they called that evangelism, and that turned me off for a long time.
Yeah.
Even as pastors, right? Like, we don't have necessarily easy roads with evangelism just because this is our
Well,
gig.
we talked about it among the clergy one time. At least I asked people, when someone says, "Where do you work?" What do you say? And we all say, "At a church."
At a
and then we
church.
hope that someone doesn't have a follow-up question, but they always do. And
Yeah.
they say, "What do you do at the church?" And you say, "I'm a pastor." And then everyone feels awkward
Everyone
because now
feels
they feel
awkward.
like you're judging them for the last however many long of the conversation that you've
Right.
had.
Right.
When really we're not. We're mostly embarrassed by our own profession.
Right. Well, because it like has a reaction in
It
the
has a
room.
whole connotation to it.
Well, and I've like had my own journey recently that like I'm tired of pretending like I don't want to tell what God's doing in my life. Right? Like I've been like chill about it because I didn't want like people to be weird or like feel different things. But like I really love what I do. I really love being at a church like this that is affirming and inclusive and intergenerational and values belonging, purpose, justice, and joy.
You got it.
And I like there are not a lot of churches like us out there.
There are not, in this day and age, there are not a lot of places to find community at all,
Right.
whether it's a church or not.
Right.
I honestly think even if someone's not religious, they should go to church just to find connections with people.
Obviously, we didn't plan this. No, I was literally telling. I went to dinner with some friends recently, and I said I'm so tired of pretending like I don't think people, should not come to church. Like
Yeah.
I'm like I don't care if you believe like all of the things. I don't care if you believe some of the things. I think that it's really important for us to have a discipline of some sort where we come into a community. We don't always agree.
Yes.
But we do ritualistic stuff together.
Yep.
We serve other people together.
Mm-hmm.
We learn each other's stories. Like, I just think that coming to church is so important in, like, human
I think
experience.
so too. It's weird that a Sunday goes by and I don't disagree with something
Right.
that we're talking about. Like the scripture text today in this service says the word Father talking about God, and I don't think that we should use male language to talk about God
Right.
on
But
the
there
devotional.
are other people that do.
Right, and it's
Yep.
it's how it's written in the translation
Right.
that we use.
Right.
And so it's okay to disagree with things because that means you're thinking and using your brain, and you don't have to agree about
Right.
everything that the church is doing or
Right.
saying to benefit from the community.
Right. But I do think that this, like, if you're scared of evangelism or uncomfortable with it or get, like, the ick from it,
Yeah.
one, I hope that Mitchell, like, no pressure, Mitchell, bring it.
I am interested to see what he's going to say
Yeah.
about it.
Two, I think telling the story of what the church is doing in your life is good. And you know what evangelism can be?
What?
It can be inviting people to things that our church is already doing.
Do we have any fun, exciting events coming up?
We do, Roy.
Oh
Thank
my
you for
gosh.
asking. So on September 19th, we've talked about this a little bit, but there's a lot of people who study the Enneagram and find it so helpful in their marriages and in their friendships and in their family relationships. If you have done Enneagram work, you should come on September 19th. You should bring a friend, register online, and we're going to talk about Enneagram and grief. All of us experience loss, whether through death or the loss of a job or the loss of what our bodies could do but now can't.
Whew, I'm already
Like-
getting that. I'm 33 years old. I'm already getting to the word
Yeah.
can't do things.
Right. And so we will be talking about what Enneagram wisdom has for us in our Enneagram number through grief. So that'll be a great one to bring somebody else to. It's on a Thursday at 1 p.m., September 19th. You've got something for us.
I have the Lunch and Learn Dallas City ballot discussion.
Yes.
Which is at what time?
It's September 29th after worship.
Okay.
Yeah.
September 29th after worship. So the city of Dallas, every 10 years, they have to revise the charter, which is basically the constitution of the city.
Wow, that's kind of a big deal.
Yes. And so they go through this whole process of proposing amendments to the charter, and they have to be approved by the whole city because it's like we're changing the constitution of the city.
Right.
Well, there are, I think, 15 of them.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, and they're pretty complicated and complex. Some of them are like giving raises to the city council and the mayor because the question is, if you want quality people, you got to pay more, or should they be, it should be out of the goodness of your heart, so we shouldn't be paying them more. So there are all sorts of conversations and debates. Bethany Erickson from D Magazine, who's a congregant here, is going to be walking us through some of those amendments, and it's on the November ballot, which is going to have already president. We have the Senate race here in Texas. House races will be on there, and a bunch of local stuff. So the ballot's going to be basically a CVS receipt. Yeah. So, and these I think will be at the end. So you want to
CVS receipt really got me.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So you want to know ahead of time what you're thinking about these because you're not going to necessarily know as when you walk in the voting booth what to think.
Well, and that's a great one to invite a friend to because most of us live in Dallas and a lot of our friends live in Dallas. So you don't have to come to church. They can come after church and come to the lunch and learn.
A lot of people are going to be planning on voting and surprised that these things come at the end of the ballot. So don't be surprised.
Don't be surprised. Last thing I have for you is that the pastor's Bible study has resumed, and I think that this is a really low barrier to invite somebody to. It's every Wednesday at noon. Mitchell is the primary teacher because it's whoever is preaching the coming Sunday. But this is where we study the text for the upcoming Sunday. And so it's low barrier because you don't have to have a lot of knowledge about the Bible. You don't have to have a lot of knowledge about our church, but it's about Bible study and growing deeper in that.